After my husband died, I moved closer to my son, believing family would protect me. Instead, they spoke about me as if I wasn't there. They laughed. They underestimated me. I never argued. I never complained. I let them believe I was weak. Then the bank called. They didn't ask for my son. They didn't ask for my daughter-in-law. They asked for me. That was the moment everything changed. Welcome to my channel. Here, I share emotional life stories about quiet strength, family, and the moments that change us forever. If these stories speak to you, I'd truly appreciate it if you subscribed and liked this video. Now, let me take you back to the beginning of my story, because what happened next was something none of them ever expected. I never raised my voice. Not when life took things away from me. Not when people spoke over me. And not when silence became my only protection. I learned early on that loud people are remembered, but quiet people are underestimated. And sometimes, being underestimated is the safest place to stand. My husband and I were married for 42 years. He was never a man of grand gestures. But every morning, without fail, he made my tea exactly the way I liked it. When he passed, the house became unbearably loud. Every ticking clock felt like a reminder that time keeps moving, even when your heart doesn't. After the funeral, people stopped visiting. The calls slowly faded. Grief is lonely like that. That's when my son suggested I move closer to him. Just until you feel better, he said. I believed him, because mothers always do. I sold the old house quietly, the one filled with memories, laughter, and arguments that no longer mattered. I packed only what I needed. Photos, letters, a small jewelry box that once meant everything to me. I told myself I wasn't losing a home. I was gaining family. When I arrived, my daughter-in-law smiled politely. Too politely. Her eyes scanned my bags. Then the boxers. Then me. Oh, she said softly. I didn't realize this was permanent. I pretended not to hear the hesitation in her voice. They showed me to a small room at the end of the hallway. No closet, no pictures. Just a bed and a window that barely opened. It's cozy, my son said. I nodded and smiled, because disagreeing felt ungrateful. At first, I tried to make myself useful. I cooked, I cleaned, I stayed out of the way. But usefulness has an expiration date when it's not appreciated. Slowly, my presence became invisible. Until it became inconvenient. At dinner, conversations flowed around me like water around a stone. Vacations they planned, investments they discussed, dreams that didn't include me. Sometimes my daughter-in-law would ask a question, not to hear the answer, but to be polite. One evening, she laughed and said, "You're lucky, Mom, not everyone gets to live for free these days." The table went quiet. My son didn't look up. I smiled gently. She never asked why I never worried about money. Years ago, when my son wanted to start his business, he came to me with fear in his eyes and hope in his voice. "I just need a little help," he said. "I promise I'll pay you back." I didn't ask how. I didn't ask when. I sold my jewelry instead. Every ring had a memory. Every necklace had a story. But love doesn't calculate loss. It only gives. I handed him the money and said, "Build something you're proud of." He hugged me tightly that day. I didn't know it would be the last time. Months passed in silence, then years. The house felt colder. Not in temperature, but in spirit. I learned how to walk softly, how to take up less space, how to exist without being noticed. One night, I couldn't sleep. I heard raised voices from their room. "She's old," my daughter-in-law said. "She doesn't contribute. We can't take care of her forever." Her words didn't cut. They clarified. I waited for my son to speak, to defend me, to say something. He didn't. That silence hurt more than any insult ever could. That night, something inside me shifted. Not anger, not resentment, clarity. I realized I had been shrinking myself for people who never planned to make room for me. The next morning, I packed my suitcase. It didn't take long. A lifetime of love fits into very little space. when it's no longer welcome. I left a note on the bed. Thank you for reminding me who I am. My new apartment was small, quiet, peaceful. For the first time in years, I slept without feeling like I was in the way. Silence felt kind again. 2 weeks later, my phone rang. It was my son. His voice shook. The bank called. He said, the loan, it defaulted. He didn't know, because I never told him. Years ago, I quietly co-signed, just in case. A mother plans for storms her children don't see coming. We met at the bank. My daughter-in-law looked smaller somehow. Less certain, less powerful. The banker slid the documents toward me and said, as the primary guarantor, the decision is yours. I looked at my son, then at the woman who once called me lucky to live for free, and I said calmly, I'll handle it. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse. I didn't remind them of anything. I paid the debt, signed the papers, and stood up. Outside, the air felt lighter, like a chapter closing quietly behind me. My son called my name. I turned once. I hope you learn, I said softly. That kindness is not weakness. Family isn't proven by blood. It's proven by respect. I never wanted power. I only wanted love. And sometimes, the quietest people carry the strongest truths.